Women are the freest and have the most agency over their lives than they've ever had in the history of mankind. Yet today's women are reported to be some of the most unhappiest, especially in our Western society. Now, how does any of this make sense? Because women are absolutely killing it in their careers, in going to university, getting an education, getting further education. How does any of this make sense if women are gaining more and able to have more today than they ever have before? Why isn't career success and financial success making women happy? Like it really doesn't make sense, right? Because surely everybody wants to have career and financial success to some degree in their lives. So why would it not make women happy then? It seems to make men happy pretty well. But there's something else at play here that we're actually starting to learn about ourselves as human beings and as men and women. And people could be embarrassed to talk about it because it may mean they're admitting something that they feel they've been told they're not allowed to admit. In our society, the largest demographic of people who are on antidepressant medications are women. And it's not the average woman who is on this medication, but women who fall into a certain category. And that category are women who are over the age of 35, who are high earners and have great success in their chosen fields, who have never been married and don't have any children. This is the largest demographic of people in our society who have reported to be the most unhappiest and the most unfulfilled. When equally, when you look at the male counterparts of this category, they're actually reported to be some of the happiest people. The men who have succeeded in their fields, who are high earners, who maybe regardless they may be single or may not have any children. They are actually some of the most happiest men who feel like they have the world at their fingertips. Where's the disparity here? How can we have men and women in the same positions in life, yet one is reported to be the happiest and one is reported to be the most unhappy? Because women have fought to have the same opportunities as men when it comes to their careers and their financial independence. And today's women are more than succeeding in this area, yet they're the most unhappy. Why is this happening? In something I read recently, there was a whole chapter dedicated to who we are as human beings and understanding what is it truly that fulfills each of us. And this particular part is going to help us understand why these particular women having career and financial success doesn't make the majority of women happy. And if you are spiritual to any degree, then I think this is really going to resonate with you. So of course, as human beings, as men and women, we are all comprised of masculine traits and feminine traits. There's not one person who is all masculine or one person who is all feminine. However, though we are all comprised of masculine and feminine traits, when it comes to our sexual core of who we either have a more masculine sexual core or a more feminine sexual core. And I just want to make this clear, this has nothing to do with whether you are a man or a woman. You can be a man who has a more feminine core and you can be a woman who has a more masculine core. This is more about where we are and when we sit when it comes to sexual polarity. Now, broadly speaking, yes, the majority of men have a more masculine core, while there is a minor percentage of men who do have a more feminine core. Equally, the majority of women broadly have a more feminine core, while there is a minor percentage of women who have a more masculine core. Okay, so how is this relevant to women being unhappy in their successful careers, and why do we need to understand this? Because depending on where your core sits, you are going to derive different levels of fulfillment from different things in your life. The majority of our fulfillment is going to come from different places depending on what core you have. For the masculine sexual core finds fulfillment in direction, in purpose, and in freedom. This is what fulfills the masculine core. So that's why if you take the average guy who has a more masculine core, he may have the most loving wife, he may have the most adorable children, he may have an amazing community of people around him. But if he feels that his life doesn't have purpose, if he feels that he doesn't have direction in what his purpose is, if he feels that he doesn't have an element of freedom to do so, then he is going to feel unfulfilled no matter how loving the family is around him. He's going to be unfulfilled because as someone who has a more masculine core, that is what masculinity seeks. Whereas if you have a more feminine core, the feminine sexual core seeks fulfillment from love, from connection, from closeness, and from community. So equally, if you take a woman who has a more feminine core, she may be a very high earner. She may have incredible success in her chosen field, have the car she wants, have the house she wants, and have all the financial abundance that anyone can ask for. But if she doesn't have a loving partner, if she doesn't have a loving companion who she can share her life with, who she can be close with and have intimate connection with, if she doesn't have a community of people who love her and who she shares around her, it doesn't matter how much she earns or what she has materialistically, she is going to feel unfulfilled. And this is what we're starting to see in really high numbers in our society. You have a lot of very successful career women who have ended up sacrificing having connections in family, in friends, and in relationships for the sake of their career. And yes, they have succeeded in great strides in their career, but they're not happy. In fact, they are reporting to be the most unhappiest and most unfulfilled. And a large reason of this is because those type of women who are unfulfilled, if they fall into the majority, it means they have a more feminine sexual core and they don't have that love and connection that they naturally yearn for. And like I said, this has nothing to do with being a man or a woman, because this doesn't just apply to heterosexual couples. This applies to homosexual couples as well. You know, when you see two guys together or you see two girls together, obviously it's toxic language to be like, oh, who's the man and who's the woman? That's like terrible language to use, and that's actually very offensive. However, that's not to say that there is actually something in that. Even when you have a gay couple, two guys or two girls, one of them will tend to have a more masculine sexual core and the other one will tend to have a more feminine sexual core, because masculine and feminine complement each other. It is in the polarity of the two that sexual energy flows, that there is a current of energy, if you will. That's why we have the North and the South Pole. We have the positive and the negative. You have the masculine and the feminine. Order for energy, especially sexual energy, to flow, there needs to be a polarity in who that is flowing between. Hence the phrase, opposites attract. I mean, look at Little Mix right now. They're taking a break from their career because they want to have a family. They want to start prioritizing love and connection and closeness. And if you look at Little Mix, I mean, they're incredibly successful, but they're all incredibly very feminine women. Now you could say,
well, Kit, they've already made huge success in their career already, so it makes sense for them to want to start having a family now. It makes sense for them to want to start prioritizing having a relationship and settling down now.
and you're completely right. Of course, it's natural to get to that point and then want to start having a family. But let's look at somebody who also has incredible success, but who has a more masculine core. Enter Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio has an endless amount of opportunities to settle down with women, but he is perfectly fulfilled to just have an incredibly successful career and just to date casually as he sees fit. And he's been successful for a very long time. Now, some people would like to look at Leo and be like,
oh, he just hasn't matured yet. He's not emotionally mature, that's why he's not decided to settle down.
And I hate to break it to you, but this has nothing to do with a lack of maturity. If he has very strongly a more masculine sexual core, his priorities of fulfillment is purpose and freedom. He definitely has high purpose in being very successful and very driven in his career. And he definitely has the freedom because he can date who he wants when he wants. And for sure, he clearly values the freedom of not having to be bound to one woman. Here in London, we have slang called getting cuffed or cuffing a woman, which refers to marrying a woman. Now, the slang cuffs is referred to handcuffs, you know, what police enforcement use or what people who are a bit kinky use. And what do handcuffs do? They restrict your freedom. That's why here in London, guys use the slang cuffing for marriage because it's seen as a guy sacrificing his freedom. And that's a freedom that our pal Leo isn't willing to sacrifice. Now I can hear some of you saying, well, actually, Kit, a woman sacrifices her freedom as well, you know. And I'm here to tell you, it's not the same. Because if you're a woman who is very much in her feminine, then you're more likely to value love and commitment over freedom. You're more likely to value one consistent love over many playful lusts. That's why guys see giving commitment a certain degree of sacrifice. I mean, look at Ariana Grande recently. She's literally married the most unexpected guy. Honestly, I think it blindsided everyone. But it's clear that she has different priorities now. Love, closeness, commitment. That's something that if you're dating in the hip hop world and industry, you can have all the freedom and all the excitement of dating all these different kinds of people and have that roller coaster. But that's not going to be fulfilling to you if what you want is closeness, connection. Now, I'm not saying all this for you to start worrying and overthink yourself into a frame of anxiety about what you may or may not be doing, but just for you to sit down with yourself and ask, what is it that you truly want? What is important to you? What do you think is going to contribute to your fulfillment long term? And being able to answer these questions for yourself is half of life's journey. And understanding your sexual core, whether that's a masculine one or a feminine one, is going to put you on the right track. If you're looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick. Pow.